Hello everyone, welcome to United Chokros. Welcome to the match reactions between Tottenham Hotspur and Manchester United. Final scoreline: Tottenham Hotspur 1, Man United 3. Brilliant game, a tale of two halves, two contrasting halves. The way we played in the first half, we looked like a team who was relegation threatened, and the second half we played like a champion team, a team who looked like winning a Champions League. That was a difference, a contrasting, half, and we would like more of Man United in the second half. The way they played in the second half, we would like to see more of Man United doing that. So, AB, without any further delay, let me get straight into this. Your reactions on yesterday's game, what do you think was how different, what are your thoughts on your approach, on our approach on the first half and second half? Why is it that the contrasting difference is so much?
Well, first of all, it's very difficult to believe the scoreline, David. I'll be very frank enough. I'm a big United fan, as you all know. But again, coming back to the same point, I was never under the expectation that we would win the game. I was in a bit of belief that we could be back to 1-1 after the first half, especially looking at the performance. There could be a possibility that we could either equalize or maybe we can lose the match. But 3-1 was completely unexpected from this team. The change which I see, DV, is this is normally a trend nowadays that's becoming that we generally are down one goal or two goals and then suddenly we come back in the game. So
Correct,
in a
correct.
way it is good, but in the other picture it is not good at all because every time fortune will not favor your side and these things are not going to happen. But more or less, yes, I was very happy with the scoreline. The big impact or the big happiness is we won by coming back after the 1-0 down in the first half. So scoring
Correct,
three
correct.
goals in the second half, and that to not to any regular team or to a relegating team. Scoring three goals to Tottenham Hotspur. Just remember what happened in the first half of the season when they had come to
Yeah.
United, they had come to Old Trafford, and now beating them in their own den. It's a very big it's the happiness is too much. I cannot really express it, David. But especially the second goal, the third goal was a big gift for us, I could say. But the second goal, when Cavani scored the goal and that crucial pass from Greenwood, the moment Greenwood put that pass, it was superb. And then Cavani did the rest. So very happy with the scoreline, and I think so. The main thing is, see, Solskjaer would have realized, this team can win. And yesterday, the team that we played in the second half, the team played very well. David. I didn't think so. There was any problem in that team. The big thing was Cavani was right on target, not once, not twice, but three times in a row, and he made Loris work. So that was the most important thing which Martial was not able to do. He was not able to work the keeper. But Cavani, every game that he has played, he's made the keeper work. So very impressive with the performance, David. What do you say?
Yeah, AB, you're absolutely correct, and I really like the way we played in the second half, the way we reacted to that 1-0 down. And honestly, if you look at that game, we should have been leading 1-0. That goal which was disallowed, that was, very unfair. And I'm not sure why is the VR been introduced. At first, I thought maybe McTominay fouled him, but if you look at it closely, Son made the most out of it. He completely made a meal of it. It's very similar to what Lamela did at Old Trafford, but I think Martial was rightly sent off, but I think Lamela should have been sent off as well. Now, the same thing, Son made a complete meal of it, and went down so easily, and you know, you know took nice acting class from Mourinho. And I think Rashford himself has spoken in the past that Mourinho wants his players to do that, go down easily. So all of that has been spoken. So we know what Mourinho tells his players to do, and I thought that goal should have stood. But nevertheless, we reacted really well after going 1-0 down, and I want United to do the same thing consistently. And because it's we played the same Fred McTominay which we played in the first and the second half as well. And the way they played, they went forward, they attacked the ball, they moved the ball quickly, didn't have too many touches. That is what is most important. When you want to, have a high energy, high tempo flow game, you want to score goals, you need to move the ball quickly. You cannot have too many touches, slow down the game. You will not be able to score that many goals. So that was the difference between the two halves. And I really want United more of second half United than the first half United. So yes, a really brilliant game, and really happy to see a lot of players contributing. Greenwood, Fernandes, Pogba, Edinson Cavani, all of them played really, really well. Now, yes, I know a lot of players played well, and I spoke of the few of them. But AB, who according to you was last night's man of the match? I know your answer, but I want to hear it from you. Who was your man of the match last night?
Well, in a way, DV, I would like to give it to Greenwood because the moment he came, his one crucial pass to set up Cavani and the second to finish up the game. So, he was like a super sub for us. The moment he
Yeah,
came, he was right on target. He did not take time, which normally players do. They come on the pitch, they do take time, they take two or three runs. One or two crosses of theirs go haywire, but Greenwood was right on target. The moment he caught Cavani taking that run, he put a super ball. Just so, what did Cavani do? He just came inside and he just put, just tapped it in with
proper,
his head.
proper number nine goal.
It
Proper
was a
number nine goal.
proper cross. It was a proper cross from Greenwood, and that was a first-time cross. He did not even touch the ball.
Yeah.
The moment Bruno gave him the pass, that was a first-time cross that he put. Simply superb. And the second goal again, the third goal, sorry, the third goal again that he scored was simply superb. So for me, the super sub Greenwood is my man of the match, TV. What about you?
My man of the match. I thought you would say a different thing, but my man of the match was Paul Pogba. What a brilliant game! He was our best player in the first half as well. Because if you see the Cavani goal, which is ruled out, Pogba was the one who created that goal. He dribbled past the player, he held on the ball, and then put in a crucial pass to Edinson Cavani for him to score the goal. Unfortunately, that got ruled out because of VAR. But then in the entire game, Pogba's involvement was so brilliant. He looked completely unreal. I thought, where was this Paul Pogba? And he was completely untouchable last night. And I would want to see more of Paul Pogba till the end of the season. Yes, we're going to discuss about his transfer status later in the video. But yes, for me, last night's man of the match, Paul Pogba, brilliant game. And he got an assist in the end. The Greenwood goal was assisted by him. If you see the way he dribbled past two players, he did a trick or year or two, and then put in a beautiful pass to Greenwood. Greenwood did a step over and took a shot. Brilliant, overall brilliant play from minute one till the end. He was our best player on the field and is easily my man of the match for last night's game. And I want to see more of Paul Pogba till the time he's at Man United. That is what I want to see. And that brings me to our next discussion, AB. There are three players, there are a lot of things that we have to do the summer transfer window in terms of selling as well as buying. But there are three players who performed brilliantly last night. Two who played for Man United, Edinson Cavani and Paul Pogba, and one of our players on loan to West Ham United, Jesse Lingard, who scored two brilliant goals. Now we've got to sell Lingard for at least 30 million. We've got to find a club for Paul Pogba or give him a new contract, which I think looks very unlikely because what I fear is that Man United want 50 to 60 million for Paul Pogba. No club is wanting to pay that money. Plus, Pogba wants half a million per week. So I don't think there are many clubs who can do that. Get him for 50 million and then give him that contract. And so what I fear is Pogba might run down his contract. He will talk to clubs next January, and he will tell them, you are saving your transfer fee. Give me half a million contract. And clubs will be able to afford him because he's saving a huge chunk of money by on his transfer. So we might end up with nothing. Paul Pogba, what he'll do is he may not play all that. He may play whenever he plays. He'll be professional, but he'll be unfit. He'll be injured. He'll keep himself, injury free for his next club. So that's what I fear most that will happen. Same as with Edinson Cavani. We don't know what will happen towards the end of the season. We're desperate for him to sign a new contract. If he doesn't sign a new contract, we're left again. Since then we have to bother about the striker thing. We're now looking at centre back and see a midfielder. Then we have to look at a striker as well. So our transfer plans are not in place. We are relying completely on Edinson Cavani and Paul Pogba to to commit the futures. At the same time, we are hoping that Lingard gets sold to 30 million. So what do you think will be the fate of these players, and will in deciding the fate of these players, do you think we will lose out on time buying other players? Because remember, there'll be Euros as well, and during Euros, Man United will not be able to make any deal. We've seen that in the past. They don't do it during World Cups and Euros. So what do you think will be this three players, destiny?
See, for me, TV, Edison Cavani and Pogba are a clear signing that we should go ahead with because both of them are doing a superb job right now. Even Cavani, I can tell you with his age as well, the way he's performing right now, I don't think so. Even we don't have to look about his age. Martial being so younger to him is not able to perform. But a player like Cavani, so much of experience. Yes, the only challenge which comes over here is his fitness. How fit will he be
Yes.
in the next season? How many matches will he be able to play? But if you look at his talent, if you look at his efforts, he's doing a good job. If he's not being signed, DVI, as per the reports, Boca Juniors are ready to sign him, and he is looking a
He
bit
wants to
interested.
go.
Yeah, and he looks also interested to go back and play over there because he'll get much more of a match time as compared to what he's getting over here. But if
Yeah.
you look at his as his record, DV, the way he's playing with us right now, I don't think so. We should not give him a contract extension. 1 year contract extension is good for me for Edison Cavani and Paul Pogba. DV, I don't think so. We don't have to, even have a second thought in our mind before signing him. He's doing wonders right now, as you said. This is the Pogba that we always wanted to see. So
Yes.
finally, when he's come back to form, I think so he should be given one more year of chance because as of now, so many years he's played for us, but we could not see this kind of Pogba, and we were ready to sign him for the next season. But when he's performing right now, I don't think so. There should be any doubt in the managers or in the board's mind to sign him. DV. But coming back to Lingard, as I told you, I would love to see him back at United. Looking at his performance right now, the way he's performing for West Ham. But the only challenge here is when Lingard comes, where does he fit? And whom do we put out back on bench? For no doubts, we cannot put on bench Marcus Rashford, or we cannot put on bench Bruno Fernandes, or anyone who could play in his position. So I think so that thing is very clear that Lingard should go, and either 30 or 35 grand should be good enough. Dave. What do you feel?
Yeah, see, the problem here is I'll talk about Lingard. Pogba and Cavani, I think Man United are ready to offer the deal. The deal is on the table, and both these players are not accepting it. In case of Cavani, he still wants to think. He wants to wait and decide for his future. What I think about Cavani is, yes, he's a good player. He's brought in a lot of threat. Another dimension of play. Striker that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted, a proper number nine who can make those runs, get behind the defenders, get in those channels, and score those goals. Proper number nine goal is what we saw last night, the second goal, and we want to see more of that. The problem here, what comes is, yes, we can offer him the deal. Let's say he signed the new contract, but the problem is he's got a lot of injury issues. I would love to see Edinson Cavani here next season, but will he be able to play complete 38 games? That's a big question. And again, his heart is set on Boca Juniors. That where his family, I think, settled there, so that's very close to his home. So he really wants to go there and play the rest of his career. So that looks very unlikely. Pogba will stay, but I don't. If he stays, I don't think will it'll be a big loss for us. He'll not play most part of the season. Either he'll be injured or he'll not be fit, and then he'll go for free. So I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and the board members have already pitched their new contract with Paul Pogba. I think Paul Pogba wants to wait till the end of the season and decide. And like I said, what I really fear is Pogba won't sign for another club. He will run down his contract and maybe go to another club for free because he can demand more wages in that case because the clubs don't have to pay a transfer fee for him. So I'm really scared that we will make nothing out of it and it will really be bad for us. So that's what I fear. So let's hope positive things happen. And with regards to Lingard, I think uh, I think it's best that he leaves and goes to West Ham United. I'm really happy for
Absolutely.
Jesse Lingard because he's gone through a lot of tough times, not just as a player on pitch. He had his personal issues as well and family matters. So all of that, what he's gone through, and now he's enjoying his time. He's scoring goals. That's very important. 3 assists and 9 goals. I think that's what he scored. So he's enjoying his time at West Ham United. And from what I've heard today, even clubs like Inter Milan, PSG, and Real Madrid are linked to him. So I'm really proud that a player like Jesse Lingard who was criticized so much, was literally trolled by a lot of our fans, is answering all the critics and shutting them down. So what I want is him to go to a club like West Ham or any club, where he can get proper game time because his position is number 10, and there's no way we're going to replace Bruno Fernandes with him. Bruno Fernandes cannot be benched. He's our best player.
Absolutely.
So it's best that, this is at his stage of his career that he needs to play more. He cannot be benched, and do what Van der Beek is 23. But remember, Lingard is 28 now. So he needs to have more game time. This is his peak. In a couple of years' time, maybe not have that much pace or speed, or that he may not be that agile, to play that many games. So he's at his peak of his career and needs to play more games. So it's best that he goes to another club, enjoy this time there. We get 30 million, invest that money in buying a different player. Now, that brings me to my last topic. Okay, for today, couple of updates spoken about in my live video last night. Man United linked to Ruben Neves. Now he plays for Wolves, a player that I really admire, I really like, and I want Man United. Uh, he's the kind of player we've been missing in the center of the park since Michael Carrick retired. A player who's very similar in his trait, can not only defend and intercept those crucial passes, can not only tackle but also can play those crucial passes. His ball distribution is brilliant. He takes corner kicks and free kicks. He's scored some screamers for Wolves. His shot power is really brilliant. All in all, a complete all-round player, a type of player which will suit Man United. We're crying out for that kind of a player. And yes, all that hype about Declan Rice, but imagine Declan Rice is an English player. There's English taxes with that player. He'll West Ham will easily sell him for nothing less than 70 to 80 million. And no, don't forget, Declan Rice has admitted that he wants to stay in London. So there's likely that he will go to Chelsea than coming to United. So rather than breaking our head in signing Declan Rice, Ruben Neves will be available for 30 40 million because he just got 2 years left in his contract. This will be the right time for Bulls to sell. Next year, he'll not go for much than 15 20 million. And Bulls cannot afford to renew his contract. So Bulls need to sell, and this is the right time for us to buy such a player. The question here is our board competent enough to go and do that deal? Can we do that deal? Do you think we'll be able to sign such a brilliant player at such a cut price tag? Are we competent enough to do that kind of deal, or will be focused on signing a centre back and a striker for the entire transfer window?
Well, Divi, looking at our board, I don't have any expectation from them right now. Signing Jaden Sancho and all those big talks which I hear nowadays, but nothing is gonna happen. What they can do right now, as you very correctly said, we need a player like uh, you know. See, there will be more players will be coming up. A centre back would be required. A striker would be required. But Ruben Neves is the ideal player right now. As you said very correctly, he's just a similar type of player like Michael Carrick or a Paul Scholes. The ball distribution is absolutely perfect. As you said very correctly, not only that, not does he only hold the game in the central defensive midfield, but also taking free kicks. His free kicks are superb, TV. It is as good as that of Bruno Fernandes. And just imagine a Portuguese in the central defensive midfield, a Portuguese in the attacking midfield. The coordination that they're going to have is going to be superb, TV. Playing for the same national team and playing again for the club, they'll be gelling up so well, and ultimately it'll just help the team again. Talks of Jadon Sancho, Erling Haaland, these are all just keep on going to happen again and again every season. I say to you, but our board is not going to do anything out of it. So I would say rather than spending more of time, just wasting the time thinking of Sancho or thinking of Haaland, this is only going to happen if the board changes or the transfer market. That's not going to happen for sure, but there's going to be a drastic change that Sancho is available for 50 or 60 million. That's going to happen. That could be a possibility. But more or less, I think so. We should right now go ahead with Neves DV. There's no other thoughts in my mind as well.
Absolutely, AB. And like I said, the ideal player, Michael Carrick, similar player, kind of player who will dominate the game in the center of the park, dictate the terms, and distribute the ball. Will move the ball very quickly. Will not need two or three extra touches which Matic and Fred have. So it will be a complete upgrade to both of these players, and I want United to have such a wonderful player at our club. I'll be gutted, if we miss out on such a brilliant player for around 30 million. And as you rightly said, so just before we come to the end of the video, a small update on Jadon Sancho. Apparently, David Ornstein from the Athletic, he said, very reliable journalist, he said that Man United have already, I'm not talking to the agent of Jadon Sancho, neither Jadon Sancho, because that is not required. They've already agreed terms last season, and that is not even a question. Okay? The terms with the agent and the player are agreed. They are just waiting for Dortmund to complete the season. Most probably, remember this: Dortmund are not going to qualify for the Champions League next season. They are doing very bad in the Bundesliga, and they may not qualify for the Champions League. So once they are out of the Champions League, their stance, their cost may change, and that's when United will go in for Sancho. They will not make a bid or any time to sign Sancho till the end of the season. Maybe after the season ends, and then wait for Dortmund to drop the price. If they drop the price to like 60 to 70 or 80 million, then maybe United will be for it. But if they stick to the 110 million, United will not sign. What I think is will not sign Jadon Sancho. We'll end up with a defensive centre back. We won't even sign Ruben Neves, and maybe a striker like Andres Silva, or someone like Cavani, who's we brought in for a short term. So that's what I think. Do you think we'll be able to do the Jadon Sancho deal this season, maybe?
Not at all, Davey. That's more of a dream, I think so right now. And it'll always remain a dream, I would say. That is not going to happen next season, this season, or maybe the seasons coming. As I say, until unless our board changes, or we stop caring about the wages, or stop caring about the expenses that we can't, we cannot do. We are a very big club. We can do that if it is required. But
Mm.
these nowadays, last 2 seasons, the transfer market has been the biggest comedy for us because we keep on expecting this player would end up coming to our club or that player, and we just end up having a different player altogether. So for me, I don't think so. Jadon Sancho is coming to United anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at if United plan the transfer window very well, they would actually do well because Henderson or David, either one of them will go. Let's say 40 million for that, 30 million for Lingard. That comes up to 70 million. If you sell Eric Bay, another 20 million. You easier going to get 90 million minus Paul. I'm not calling Paul Pogba. Without selling Paul Pogba, you're earning 90 million. And then if you end up selling someone like Diego Dalot, you get another 10, 20 million, and Andreas Pereira. So over 100 million can be, get got from sales, and then we can use that much money plus another 50, 60 million to buy a player, and we can plan the transfer window. But looking at what our board does, one can only hope that the arrival of John Utoga and Darren Fletcher will improve these things, but I highly doubt because I think they are just puppets. At the end of the day, Ed Woodward will control the transfer window, and they will just sit there and make those deals, and at the end of the season will fail drastically, and they will. What pisses me off, they are so incompetent, they are so bad at doing these deals. At the end of the day, they will come out in the social media and pat themselves on the back. That pisses me off so much. You are doing a bad job, just shut your gob and sit out there. Don't pat yourself on the back. Don't don't judge yourself. Ask the fans, ask the people who know about Man United. Forget fans. You ask the pundits, people like Gary Neville, Patricia Evra. They themselves are so appreciate the frustrated, and you're just sitting yourself praising. You're sitting at the end of the season, talking about how good you did. Because of your wise spendings. We are second in the league. Our appointment of Ole has been brilliant. We this did this. We financially we are good, but we want to spend wisely. All that stupidity, and then you pat yourself on the back. That's so frustrating and upsetting, Ab. And I understand you don't have the money and that you don't want to do the deal, but saying that we have the money, but we need to spend it wisely, that's so annoying. That is so annoying.
Absolutely. As you said very correctly, the only person, if I would say, don't even ask the fans. If you really want to get a clear cut of thinking about what actually is happening at the club, just listen to what Roy Keane says. He'll be that blunt right on your face. He won't even think even once what he's saying, but he'll say what the fact is. So if anyone wants to
Correct.
hear at the board or the manager, anyone wants to hear what exactly the club is doing, I think so they need to listen to Roy Keane because I've listened to all his pre-match, his post-match, everything I've heard about it. And DB, he is till now a true United fan, a true United player. He will go right down. He'll even, if it's possible, he'll go even and slot Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to his T, and he can do it very well. He does it every match if you see that. So I would say if they really want to see or really want to get any inputs from anyone, it either has to be Roy Keane and even Patrice Evra is not bad for that matter. So either of
Correct.
one of them is good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I fingers are crossed. I'm really scared. There are a lot of things that we have to do: sell players, buy players, and I think this window will be short because we can't even do 3 deals this season, and we are expecting our board to sell so many players and buy so many players. So, and that too when there
That's
is
not gonna
Euros
happen.
this season.
That is just next to impossible. So let's keep that aside. That's not gonna happen.
Thank you, AB, for staying awake, and doing this video. And guys, thank you very much for your love and support of watching this video. Me and AB are just here to host the show. You guys' support and love is the most important. And do subscribe to our channel, bottom right hand corner. Like the video and share with your United friends. If you want to your opinions to be, if you want to express your opinions, leave in the comment section. We'll read out those comments in the next video. Thank you very much. AB, you want to add up anything before we end the video?
I would just like to say that we are doing wonderful in TV now. We just need to keep this momentum till the few more games which are left in this season. If we keep doing that and just hope that City loses 2 or 3 games here or there are good chances that we could end up at number one.
That's impossible. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to be quiet because even though we win the game in the hand, 8 points, City dropping 8 points, very difficult. Let's see. I'm not going to talk about it. Not going to talk about title hopes, anything. Let's take it game by game. Thank you, Abby, once again. We'll do a video after the Granada game or maybe before the Burnley game. Thank you once again, guys, for watching this video. Stay safe and take care of yourself. Bye, Abby.
Bye.